Good afternoon, namaste, namaskar, sat sri akal, adab, salam alaikum, marhaba, hola, como esta. But I didn't finish. Namaskara to all my Kannada Nadin Makkalku. Vanakkam to all my Tamilian friends here, and namaskaram Cochin. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Ajeesh Venugopalan. I work for Wipro Limited in the marketing fraternity, and I head marketing for the telecommunications divisions of Wipro. Having said that, a good friend of mine, George, who's part of MOBConf, and Safal Sani extended their invitation to me, and I felt honored, and I felt that, okay, Kochi ki vendi endu cheyyum. So I flew over from Bangalore, and I'm here with all of you. It's a great feeling. Please give a big round of applause to MOBConf. I think they've done a fantastic job, a fabulous job. First ever mobility conference in Cochin, and I think I'm loving it. I hope all of you will too. Having said that, it's a bit of a challenge that the organizers have given me, because I see a mixed audience here. I see a few very senior people here and serious people here. I see students over there, and I also see a middle-aged segment. So having said that, covering a topic, touching and making it impactful to each one of you is really a challenging task. So I will try to live up to the expectations that you've given me. Having said that, let me ask you a simple question. I'm a great fan of Sir Ken Robinson. Have anyone heard of who Sir Ken Robinson is? Can I have an answer, please?
He's trying to change the way we educate.
He's trying to change niche, yes. You're right. Creative thinking, absolutely. And how many of you really, I'll go on to explain who Sir Ken Robinson is, but can you raise your hands if you feel or if you think that you're 100% creative here? How many of you think that you're 100% creative? You're a creative person.
Everybody thinks that they are creative.
Okay, proceed things that you're 100% creative?
So that it's a comparative thing, right? I can't say absolutely.
As per you?
Yeah, I think I am 100%.
Proceed 100% creative. Please give a big round of applause. Thank you very much. You think that you're creative? How many of you, look, I think only 2 people raise their hands. Why do others think that they are not creative enough? Because now I believe one gentleman spoke about idea to monetization here, right? And I'm also not a developer, not a technologist at all. So I would rather be speaking and talking about the industry and the trends that we are foreseeing here. And feel free to stop me if you have a question. Feel free to kick me out of this hall if I'm rubbishing, right? If I'm rubbishing, then I'm not adding any value to any one of you here. So having said that, let me quickly explain why I asked that question, if everybody's 100% creative or not. Sir Ken Robinson is a creative evangelist, or is a creativity expert who's born in, he's a Britisher, he's born in UK, somewhere very close to Arsenal. And he moved on to US and he was living there for a long time. And what he found out, he did certain researches, and what he found out was everybody is 100% creative when you're born. And in the process of getting educated, our system puts on certain pressures on us, which makes you lose what you really have. And I believe that all 300 of you sitting here in this auditorium is creative. Every one of you is unique, because every human brain thinks in a unique fashion. So having said that, just because I'm standing here, it does not mean that I'm intelligent, I'm more intelligent than you. I do respect all of you sitting here, coming all the way, spending one weekend over here to understand and learn a few things. I believe that I'm going to learn a lot of things before I leave this auditorium, and that's what I'm trying to achieve by coming over here and speaking. So Alexander, let me just quickly get into digital transformation. How many of you heard the term called CSP? Anybody who understands terminology called CSP?
But in which niche domain. There is something called constrained.
No, I'm talking only about mobile communications. I'm only talking about telecommunications. So I believe CSP is part of that domain. So could you tell me what CSP means? CSP stands for, as per this is your Savan or any of your mobile app that you're trying, your Uber app or your Ola app, these are all your front end which is already changing, and it is changing the way we are communicating with each other. So at a later point, 3-4 years down the line, the backend is going to change significantly. That means it's a lot of business for companies like Wipro or an IBM or a Microsoft, any IT services provider which is in the telecom space, a lot of money in there, right? So media is going to be the fastest adapter of digital transformation. Third is telecom. And if you look at the entire trend, construction is the least which is trying to adapt into. I can think of creating an app which will, let's say I wanted a flat in Cochin. I can think of an app which will give me day-to-day update on the construction status. So that means as a constructor, as a builder, I'm trying to use a mobile app to ensure that my customers are happy and they don't come back to me with cribs. Right? That ensures that there is a higher brand loyalty, this ensures that there is higher retention of your customer. It's unlikely that if you are able to keep your customers happy, the rest of the customers don't drain out of your business. So this is our data from Bain Consulting again. If you look at where the money come from, people have been talking about machine-to-machine communications, people have been talking about IoT, Internet of Things, but where's the money really going to come from? So if you look at this slide, digital is growing at a 59%. In 2012, it was a $259 billion business. By 2020, it's going to become $412 billion business. Right? If you look at the new telcos, which is largely driven by machine-to-machine communication and cloud, I'll talk about M2M. It's growing at a whooping rate of 388%. Right? And traditional telco growth is slowing down. It's going at 33%. Now we will look at it from a Porter's angle as to how the industry is changing, right? So earlier you had your VAS, voice, value-added services. You had your SMS. You had your mobile data, MBB's mobile data. Your FBB is nothing but your broadband, the landline broadband that you're using, right? Moving towards the digital, mobile ads are moving. Music apps, music streaming, live TV streaming on your mobile. So this is the way the mobile industry is changing. And you have pay TV, you have mobile commerce, a lot of applications. How many of you using an app called Goodbox, which is helpful to buy groceries? Anybody buys groceries here using a mobile app? What is the app that you're using?
Big Basket. Big Basket.
Big Basket. Brilliant. Okay. Anybody else? Go for is again a grocery shopping mobile app. So quite a lot of stuff coming. You talk about the mobile and the mobile rings, it can be a noise at sometimes, certain times. So alright, so moving on to the next slide. Sure.
You mean to say that, voice has...
You want a mic? Pardon me others, just allow me to answer this question.
So the voice, the trend that has been shown for the voice as digital revenue streams, is it said that the revenue that is made from voice will be reduced by 2020?
Absolutely. It has already been reducing. It's already been reducing.
Okay, voice means it's like...
I'm calling you on your phone.
Okay, not voice or IP.
Not voice
Fine.
or IP. Right. Voice means I'm calling you on the phone, so it carries you using fiber optic and it reaches you, or wireless, whatever. Right? That's voice. Making a telephone call using a mobile, using a carrier is going to take. Rather, I'm going to use the internet to use voice. I'm going to use applications like a Skype or a WhatsApp to call somebody who's distant. That's what I mean.
Yes, it was confused. Voice could be more IP or ESM or...
No problem. So moving on to the next slide. So if you look at,
In case that means like voice reduction that happens. So the digital space got to be charged. That means to pay a violation of net neutrality.
That's what people are talking about, net neutrality, right? Telecommunications companies are looking at how. So you're saying if voice reduces, they're going to charge for your data, isn't it? They have to make their revenue somewhere else.
Big companies can afford it, but the startups are going to face the brunt of it.
No, let me explain that to you. So there is a debate going on net neutrality, where people are talking about my complete freedom in internet. There is a parallel internet running to an internet called darknet, if you are aware of. How many of you are aware of darknet? How many of you consume narcotics here? Nobody? Alright. So darknet is a parallel internet which is running, and one of the first things that you will find in darknet is a website called Silk Road. Silk Road. Silk Road is equivalent to a Silk Road. It's a trading place. So the first things that you find is Silk Road, and Silk Road is one of the best narcotics selling e-commerce portal available, and your privacy is protected. You don't know who is buying, you don't know who is selling, and there's nobody so far have caught them yet, right? Because the data is encrypted. Every transmission which is happening is using encrypted data. So similarly, what was I talking about? I was talking about digital transformation. So telcos may not be able to charge you for the data because there is a lot of inhibition or protest happening against what they're proposing, and people would love to have the net neutrality, right? So it's going to be a little tricky for telcos. So telcos are going to do certain other things. So how are the telcos going to make money? They're going to sell few things to enterprise. For example, how many of you know a company called Telstra? Right, then Australia.
5 minutes.
5 minutes more? Alright. So Telstra is so you want 5 minutes or you want 10 minutes? No, I will go with the audience. Alright, sure. Alright, sure. So okay, let me talk about how telcos are going to make money. Telstra is a telecommunication company in Australia which is trying to sell few things to healthcare sector. Telecommunication companies is going to sell into logistics and transportation division. For example, there's something called movement analytics. So let's assume that there's a football match happening in our ground day after tomorrow. A lot of people are going to move. Some 50,000, 60,000 people are going to come. So using the mobiles, they can track as to where people are moving in. They can inform the traffic department stating that this place is going to get locked, right? Or they could also see you need to increase your bandwidth to that particular location. Because it's controlled, it's a network environment, so you have to control your network to ensure that there's more bandwidth provided to the Nehru Stadium here, right here, to ensure that people are able to use their phone. So all those data are being used, and telcos are trying to leverage data to make their money. So innovations, if you look at the early adopter cycle, we're talking about IoT, we're talking about mobile-to-mobile communication, we're talking about telco clouds, a lot of things. But where does IoT fit in? This slide is for prospective entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs. These are the various spaces where people are trying to invest in IoT. If you want to create an IoT-based mobile app, they're talking about human, where you have your Fitbit. Nish was wearing an Apple Watch. Right? You can wear a Fitbit as well, which gives you how many calories are you burning while you're talking, how many miles are you running in a day, or how many minutes are you standing up, how much of exertion is happening in your body. Right? So that's an IoT-based device, right? Similarly, you have a connected home. You can control, you can lock your house, or you can turn on your washing machine using a mobile phone. Right? So it's all IoT-based mobile applications. Similarly, it's applicable to vehicles. We're going to have autonomous vehicles. That means driverless cars. You don't need a driver to drive a car anymore, and UK is going to test drive that next year. UK is going to first time introduce it's been already there. They're going to introduce a driverless car which drives on its own. It can communicate with other cars, which is one car, let's say my car, let's name it A, and you have a car which is B. A can communicate with B without a human intervention. So you can it can reduce accidents and all those things. So a lot of applications for IoT. So since all of you are hungry, I won't spend much time here. Look at it, workforce management, factories. You can see the slide, factories over there. Workforce management automation is going to be seamlessly possible on IoT. Yeah, one last slide. Thank you so much. This is a pattern of WhatsApp users. As of last month, we have 900 million users in WhatsApp. That's the power of digital transformation. 900 million users. So by the end of October, I'm sure it will touch 1 billion. Right? So this is how the industry has been changing. What are the primary challenges of digital transformation? People and our culture. I work for a large organization with 150,000 people. It's not easy for me to change the way people think in my organization. That's why most of the innovative startups are coming up by startups. Uber is a startup, Ola is a startup, right? So many startups are going to come up with innovative technologies which a company which a large organization like an Airtel or a Vodafone is forced to buy or not partner with. So if you look at, coming back to the first slide, the industry, how it is transforming, substitutes are taking over the industry. The substitutes are merging with the industry, ensuring that there's only one new entrant, which is Google. Only one new entrant. Google is laying its own fiber optics. So that means there is, along with Android, mobile is going to again change because Google is going to come up with its own infrastructure, is going to provide its own services. So this is the last slide. If you have any questions, I can take it. Thank you so much for your time. Extremely loud being here. Thank you very much.
So we will take it up then.
Sure.